You've lost the weight, and now what? How do you go from that weight loss to transitioning to maintaining results long term? Because you can't just stay in a deficit forever. That's why I wanted to share 10 tips to help you maintain your weight loss results forever and strike that lifestyle balance. We've got to realize that maintaining itself is a process and that we can't just keep repeating the same habits that got us there. However, we can't go back to what we were doing prior. Tip number 1, realize your weight will fluctuate. Maintaining doesn't mean there won't be little ups and downs. The scale will still often fluctuate daily due to inflammation, water retention, even your meal timing the day before. The key is realizing you have the tools to catch things before they become an issue or you start to trend backwards. But also be conscious that as you balance out, you may see a slight scale increase. Don't stress. And then use other forms of measurement as you maintain, as the scale won't show muscle gains, which can be occurring as you go out of that weight loss deficit. Focus on how your clothes fit and even take measurements at set intervals. Tip number 2, don't cut out processed foods. The more you restrict foods and demonize things, the more you can cause yourself to crave foods and ultimately derail your consistency. Part of why we can never maintain our results is because we don't know how to work in the things we enjoy and love, and we want to eat at some point. Food is not just fuel. If you enjoy candy, find ways to work it in as you build those maintenance habits and transition to maintaining your results. Find ways to work in the things you love first. And also recognize we have to stop these sweeping, undefined labels. Not all processed foods are evil. Technically, even cooking your food is processing your food. So watch the labeling as it only creates guilt instead of a balance. Tip number 3, create mini cycles. Most of us don't do well without direction, with just doing something forever. Even when maintaining your results, set mini goals. Set little cycles for yourself where you have a specific focus. Test out ratios, see how calories impact you, experiment with different cycles. Focus a bit more on body composition or more on gaining muscle. Not so much that you're cutting or bulking necessarily, but just so that you have a focus for your fueling and training. Tip number 4, set performance goals. There's no better way to give yourself mini cycles with end dates than to set performance goals. Not only can these give you direction in your training, but they can keep you training hard and fueling well, which only promotes retention of your aesthetic changes. If you want to achieve that first full pull-up, design your workouts to work towards that. Even make sure your diet fuels that muscle growth and performance so you can train hard each and every session. Tip number 5, track. Yes, that's right, track. I know we think tracking is just about weight loss, but learning to maintain our results is a process in and of itself. And tracking allows us to make sure we're dialing everything in and slowly transitioning out of that deficit. It also allows us to make sure we're still eating enough to fuel our performance goals. So while in maintenance you may not track as strictly, or you might not even track every day, remember that tracking can be that accountability and check-in, especially if you do feel your energy dipping or your pants getting a bit tight. You now have a tool you can use anytime you need to tweak something and move forward. Tip number 6, realize you won't always be motivated. Accept that maintaining means that at points you still want to do little mini cuts for that beach vacation or little muscle gaining periods to lift a bit more. There will be holidays where you don't care and times of year you just want to lean down to feel extra fabulous. Ebbs and flows should be embraced, and we need to realize we won't always be 100% motivated in the same way. So while we want to set boundaries or bumpers so we don't go to either extreme, we have to realize we will fluctuate with time. Tip number 7, embrace minimums. When trying to maintain our results, there will be times we really only do the minimum. But that something is what keeps us on track and maintaining, even if it isn't driving us forward towards a specific goal. Minimums may be calorie caps or protein minimums. It may be a plan B to our workout routine if we're busy, or a modified schedule just so we do something. But we won't always be motivated, and there may be times of life where stresses need to take priority. These minimums can help us avoid losing ground while striking a lifestyle balance. Consistency is key, and this helps us be better than we would have been otherwise to keep us maintaining the results we worked hard for. Tip number 8, don't diet on vacations or holidays. There are 300 other days of the year besides holidays and vacations that you can focus on working towards a specific goal. Sometimes we may need to set boundaries for ourselves to keep moving forward as fast as possible, whether it's a calorie cap or even pre-planning what we'll eat. But too often we worry about gaining weight or losing weight on the holiday or vacation, when really that one day doesn't matter. Heck, even 2 days doesn't matter. It's all the days around that event that actually add up. Stay on track before the event and get right back on track to your healthy habits right after. It's 100% A-okay to just enjoy those days without guilt or stress or worry. Tip number 9, always have the day after plan. Often it isn't the actual missed workout or day of overeating or stress eating that causes us to sabotage our results. It isn't the vacation or party. It's the fact that we feel guilty and that one day becomes 2 days or weeks or even months before we get back to the habits we should. We let the old habits sneak back in and snowball. Having meals pre-planned for the next day already available to get us back on track, or a progression with a plan B laid out, can help us get right back to those healthy habits and routines. Especially if you've gone on vacation or have a party, plan ahead for how you're going to get right back to the healthy habits the day after. That will allow you to make sure that one day doesn't add up and you keep maintaining the results you've worked hard for. Tip number 10, try new things. Often when we're trying to lose weight, we get into very set routines and even very repetitive in how we're training and fueling because it's working. But these same habits and routines can get very boring. And when we get bored, we're more likely to slip back into old habits. So find new things to challenge you. Find new things to learn and experiment with. Test out new macros and recipes, experiment with new training splits and even moves. Have some fun experimenting and learning to keep your training and eating interesting. Just remember that maintaining itself is a process. And with these 10 tips, you can maintain the weight loss results you worked hard to build. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.